I sold your house to teach you a lesson about respect, my stepmother sneered over the phone. The new owners move in next week. I smiled, remembering the secret meeting with my late father's lawyer. Good luck with that, I replied. She had no idea what was coming. Update 9. My first night alone in the house. I wandered from room to room, reacquainting myself with the spaces that had shaped my childhood. In my old bedroom, now stripped of personality, and painted the same sterile white as the rest of the house, I could still see the shadows of where my posters had hung. The slight indentation in the window seat, where I'd spent countless hours reading. I saved the master bedroom for last. It had been my parents' room, then Dad and Brenda's, and I entered it with a mix of reverence and trepidation. Brenda had completely redesigned the space, replacing the warm cherry furniture with sleek gray and chrome pieces, covering the original hardwood floors with white carpet, and as Dad had mentioned in his letter, hanging an oversized reproduction of Monet's water lilies over the fireplace. I carefully removed the artwork, revealing the wall safe, just as Dad had described. My fingers trembled slightly as I entered my birthday, 0629, into the combination lock. The mechanism clicked, and the door swung open. Inside were several velvet jewelry boxes, a thick manila envelope, and a smaller white envelope, with my name written in Dad's distinctive handwriting. I opened the white envelope first. My darling Madison, if you're reading this, you've reclaimed your birthright and discovered the safe. Inside, you'll find your mother's jewelry, which she always intended for you to have. The sapphire set was her favorite. She wore it the night we got engaged. The manila envelope contains family papers, including the original deed to the house from your great-grandparents' purchase. There are also some of my private journals, which I hope will help you understand the choices I made, both good and bad. I have one last confession, Madison. In the last years of our marriage, as Brenda became more controlling, and I became more ill, I began secretly restoring some of the family heirlooms she thought she had disposed of. Look in the attic behind the chimney access panel. There you'll find the items I managed to save. Your mother's favorite books, photographs Brenda removed from albums, the hand-carved music box your grandfather made for you. I couldn't save everything, and for that, I'm sorry. But I saved what mattered most, as I tried in my imperfect way to save what mattered most for you. This house, your inheritance, your future. Live well, Madison. Be happy and know that wherever I am proud of the woman you've become. All my love, Dad. Tears streamed down my face, as I clutched the letter to my chest. Even in his final months, weakened by disease and controlled by Brenda, Dad had been fighting for me in his own quiet way. He hadn't been perfect. His choice to marry Brenda had caused us both pain, but he had done his best to make amends to protect what he could for me. I opened the jewelry boxes one by one, memories flooding back with each piece. Mom's pearl earrings, that she wore to every Christmas Eve service, the delicate gold bracelet Dad had given her on their 10th anniversary, and yes, the sapphire set, a necklace, earrings, and ring that matched Mom's eyes perfectly. The manila envelope contained exactly what Dad had promised, family documents, his personal journals, and photographs I had thought lost forever. I would read the journals eventually, but not yet. Tonight was about reconnection, not diving into Dad's private thoughts. I made my way to the attic, flashlight in hand, and located the chimney access panel. Behind it, just as Dad had described, was a hidden cache of family treasures, items Brenda had discarded, or hidden that Dad had secretly recovered and preserved. Mom's dog-eared copy of Pride and Prejudice, with her notes in the margins. The family photo albums spanning generations. The music box my grandfather had carved, which still played somewhere over the rainbow when wound. My parents' wedding album. Dad's collection of architectural awards. I spent hours in the attic that night, surrounded by these rescued fragments of my family history, alternately crying and laughing as memories washed over me. By the time I descended the stairs, dawn was breaking, and I had made a decision. Over the next 2 months, I threw myself into a careful selective restoration of the house. I didn't try to erase all of Brenda's changes. Some of her modernizations actually complemented the historic features, rather than fighting them. But I restored the library's built-in bookshelves, refinished the hardwood floors she had covered, and reinstalled the antique light fixtures I found carefully wrapped and labeled in the basement. The Kellys visited weekly to discuss the renovations, their initial weariness giving way to genuine enthusiasm as they saw the house's transformation. They had young children who would fill the rooms with laughter again, and they appreciated the blend of historic character and modern amenities I was creating. We'll preserve the heart of the house, Jonathan promised during their final visit before I moved out. Our kids will know its history. On my last night in the house, I sat in Dad's study, the one room Brenda had left mostly untouched, perhaps because she rarely entered it. I had packed the items I was keeping, Mom's jewelry, the family photographs and documents, Dad's architectural tools, and a few pieces of furniture with special significance. The rest would stay with the house, part of its continuing story. I felt a profound sense of peace, sitting in Dad's leather chair, surrounded by his books, and the subtle scent of his pipe tobacco, that somehow lingered years after he'd given up smoking. The house had been reclaimed, not just from Brenda, but from the grief and distance that had separated Dad and me during his marriage. Through his final act of love and protection, he had restored our connection even after death. The lesson wasn't lost on me. Dad had made mistakes. We all do. He had allowed fear and manipulation to separate him from those he loved most. But in the end, he had found the courage to make amends, to protect what mattered, to ensure that justice would eventually prevail. I had learned that patience sometimes serves justice better than immediate confrontation, that playing the long game, as Dad had done with his secret trust arrangement, can be more effective than impulsive reaction. That forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing, but rather freeing yourself from the burden of bitterness. Most importantly, I had learned that family legacy isn't just about houses or possessions. It's about values passed down, lessons learned, love expressed, even imperfectly. Dad had preserved our family home for me. Yes, but more precious was the example he'd set through his final acts, showing me that it's never too late to try to make things right. As the first light of dawn filtered through the study windows, I rose from Dad's chair, and took one last look around. I wouldn't be living here anymore, but I had reclaimed what mattered. My heritage, my memories, my peace of mind, and Brenda's attempt to erase all of that, had ultimately failed. Sometimes justice comes in unexpected ways. Sometimes the most powerful response to cruelty isn't dramatic confrontation, but quiet, methodical planning. Sometimes winning doesn't mean destroying your opponent, but simply taking back what is rightfully yours, and moving forward with grace. As I closed the front door behind me for the final time, I felt Dad's presence beside me, his hand symbolically on my shoulder. "We did it, Dad," I whispered. "We showed her that some things can't be bought, sold or stolen. Some things are protected by love."